अकेली नहीं हूँ इस खेल में। मेरे जैसे हजारों लड़कियां हैं जो अपने घर से भागकर इस रेगिस्तान में दफन हो चुकी है।
Now, I don't know whether I should be happy or terrified, because I've got one of the main antagonists of the Kerala story with me, Vijay.
Yeah,
A warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for giving your first UK interview with me. I'm very honored. Thank you.
thank you so much for calling.
Right. Okay. Look, Vijay. Let's begin from the beginning. The Kerala story has created quite the buzz.
Yeah.
For good and for bad for certain people as well. So tell me, how are you digesting everything? And also, a huge congratulations because I think it's one of the first female-centric films. I think that's crossed 200 crores at the box office,
Yeah,
which is big.
absolutely.
So tell me, what's going through your mind at the moment?
I look, I think initially I was really scared, and then I was really happy, and then I was scared again, and then I was really happy again. I don't know if there's any direct way to digest what's going on with the film. I think it's creating a lot of important conversations throughout the country and probably outside the country as well. And I think for me, I look at it in a very objective space. As an actor, we've all, as an entire team, we've created something that is incredibly human, that a lot of people are connecting to, that a lot of people are, egging to watch again and again. Some people have watched it 3, 4 times, and I feel like there's a certain connection that they're able to find with the film, because
Mhm.
of which it's doing as well as it is. So that's awesome. That's an amazing feeling to have. So I think there are no words.
Right.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
For sure. And I think this is not your first time, I think, where you've done like a sort of conflict themed content. I mean, you've done Of Road and
Yeah.
I think Act 1978 you've been a part of as
Yes.
well. But I've not seen those works. So I mean,
Sure.
this is your first time playing a terrorist, isn't that right? Or is this
This
the
is my first time playing a terrorist.
wow.
In
Okay.
Avro, in fact, my character was a paramilitary captain. So it's
Mhm.
the complete opposite. I it's an interesting opposition for me to play someone who's like really good and patriotic, is all for the country and completely going in that sort of a road. Cut to we have Ishak, who is the complete opposite of that sort of a character. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, complete 360-degree turn, huh? I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, look, I think when it comes to playing a character like this, because obviously it's inspired by a true story that's
yeah,
happened. I believe your character actually is no longer on this earth. So I think for you to actually prepare for something like this, because it is linked to a real life character,
yeah.
what would you say was some of the research and preparation process for you?
Look, there were a lot of documentaries. There was a lot of conversation with the director as to how he wants to present every single character, not just Ishak. I think every single character is built on a certain kind of a vision, a certain sense of how do I want to see this character in this film? What is his purpose? What is his intention? And I think you kind of accumulate all of that together. You have a sensibility of how this world is, what are, sort of like day to day activities that these kind of people are probably going through. And you have a lot of documentaries that go through this. Family Man has also spoken about this. We have so many films that are, previously made on ISIS movements, right? I think there's so much out there on the internet that you can all take bits and pieces, and try and create a structure for yourself that enables you to fully believe in that sort of a space. While it's incredibly crazy, right? I don't believe in this. I don't believe in anything that this character does. But at the same time, as an actor, I need to come to that place where I can leave myself and somehow find um, belief in the things that this character will do or say, because he truly believes he's the hero of the story.
Hmm.
We know that he's a bad person, but for him, he's the hero.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I would say more than the research, it was also a continuous psychological battle for me to kind of find a way to really say, yeah, this is who he is, and let's stop thinking about what you feel, what you believe, and just let that take the reins.
Hmm. I mean, to get into the psyche though, is a very I mean, I'm sure that must have been an entirely different process altogether. Because
Yeah.
obviously, like you said, you have to believe what he believes, even though you vehemently do not believe that. But essentially, because he's a brainwashed fellow, did you kind of have to tap into a place in your heart, as a maybe as a child or in your younger life, where you were also very vulnerable, as well, to bring out that extremities that Ishak displays?
Um, definitely, as far as the backstory is concerned. But if you see in the film, we do not delve too much into the past of Ishak. It's post the brainwashing, right? He's already somebody who's been brainwashed and he's being directed in a certain way, and he now owns that sort of a direction. So as much as it is important to figure out where is this really coming from, I think it was also important for me to see this guy as someone who truly believes in what he's doing right now. Like now it's no longer about the brainwashing. Now it's about, I believe this. I completely see this and I am going to see this to the end. Whatever that may be. Be it to, I don't know, take a bullet or put a bullet in somebody else's head. I think it's probably the same thing for him. He believes that he's doing it for all the right reasons.
Mhm. But again, some of the sequences that you've been a part of, they were absolutely heart-wrenching and really spine-chilling. I mean, there's one scene where, uh, I don't want to describe it because it might be
Yeah,
triggering for a lot of viewers, but I think you know what I'm referring to,
yeah,
where there is a lot of atrocities towards women. And
yeah.
I think for me to actually just observe that, it made me felt very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Uh, so how did you zone out of it? I mean, for you to actually execute that sequence, I mean, at that point in life, what gave you that courage first, and how affected were you after wrapping that sequence
I
up?
think the courage really comes from your co-actors. And this is something that I've always witnessed all the way from my theater times. As long as you have a co-actor who trusts you as much as you trust them, I think you can create magic wherever that is. It could be on stage, it could be on film. And I feel like so much of the credit also goes to Adah, for completely trusting me as a human being more than anything else and knowing the objectivity involved as actors to kind of create something. We both know that this is not something that we are for in real life, and it's insane to be for both of us to be put in that space, and in different ways for both of us. And only I know how many times every time we finished shooting the shot, I would go to Ada and I would be like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And she'd be like, no, it's okay, no, it's okay. I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you. I get it, I get it. I think it's a camaraderie that is built beyond the shot that really enables something that is so unimaginable to be portrayed, in a way that's as realistic as possible. So I
Hmm.
think a lot of credit goes to the other actors as well.
Right.
Without Other, I don't think those scenes would have worked the way it did. She could have said that, I don't know, she could have said anything, and maybe the scene would have become a lot more suggestive than it currently is, because of which it's gaining a certain kind of traction, right? It makes you go to a certain place, it makes you feel a certain emotion. It could have not happened the same way, and it would have been seen very differently from what it is today.
Hmm. Now, as twisted as it is, but usually when we see characters like Ishak or even Adah's character that is obviously based on a real life person who is currently in an Afghanistan jail,
Yeah.
um, you know, to what extent has it really made you realize the lives that they actually live is more than just a news headline or just some sort of pictures that we see on television? I mean, to be so close to that. I mean, it's the closest perhaps anyone can ever get, right? So, I mean, that must have really been a spine-chilling experience for
It
you.
is. It is. I mean, the videos that I've seen, the articles that I've read, I can only sit here and probably gaze at a screen, or a page or an article, and feel like I know something about them, which is not at all true. I can't even imagine the things that they're probably going through, what their, headspace must be like, the kind of violence that they're going through. It's unimaginable. I don't know if I'll ever get to a space where I truly know it. I can't claim that I know what they're feeling. It's not possible. What they're going through is insane. It's not human. How is it something that any of us can even fathom unless you're going through it? Only you know the pain.
Right. Did you actually meet any? Because I know there was an event where I think the some of the survivors
Yeah.
went on stage and
No,
spoke
I,
about
I
it.
didn't have that pleasure. I didn't have that pleasure, unfortunately. I was doing another shoot, so I just couldn't be there.
Hmm. But I mean, I think I would just like to know. I mean, this is a bit of a hypothetical question, but Vijay, I think after having done the Kerala story, if you were to sit on the opposite side of a terrorist right now, or someone like Ishak in real life, how do you think that conversation would pan out? And do you think that's a similar conversation you had in your mind when you were preparing for the role?
It's a question that I've always asked myself. There's so many different characters that there are different characters that I've played, and I keep asking myself, what is it, that if I were to put all of them into the same room, what would that be like? Can I speak to all of them? I've played this army man, Captain Imtiaz. Imagine he's in the same room with Ishak. There's only going to be one person left alive after that. And if I'm also there, I'm just a witness to see what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be ever able to actually have a conversation. I'd like to understand why this man chose to do the things that he did. I'd like to understand how he came to this place where, you've left your humanity outside somewhere and you've given yourself to something that is perhaps so delusional. And in some ways, you also don't seem to find a way out of that, because of which you choose those decisions every single day with that much grit. I would love to ask them those kind of questions, to try and understand why. Why are you doing these things? What's the reason? Why do you need violence?
And honestly, I have to address this because I think it needs to be asked, and I think it's a very big question which has been asked ever since the teaser had released. But obviously there's been claims of it being cold propaganda and all of that. There's been calls to boycott the film. Here in the UK, there's been a few incidents as well that follow that. So I think when you are working on the film and you are focused on the story you're telling, and I can understand why there are concerns as well about why people might be skeptical or a bit, fearful about, why it can be perhaps perceived as propaganda. I totally get that as well. But, I think for you as actors and as artists, how, ensured do you have to be and not allow a certain piece of content to make you, in order to perhaps avoid extremism, you end up becoming extremist yourself. Do you ever feel that's also a bit of a conflict as well for you, mentally and emotionally, when it comes to that aspect too?
I think you go back to where you started all of this from. When I took up the script, I don't think I sensed anything that is anti-Islamic. I think I sensed something that is anti-ISIS, right? It's about extremism that we're talking about in the film. I have a lot of Muslim friends. I think you have a lot of Muslim friends. And they have called me and they've said, man, you've done such a fantastic job as this character. We were amazed to watch you on the big screen, and what performances by each and every actor. I think those kind of calls or messages, especially from friends who are probably Muslim, has helped me a lot to overcome this sort of a feeling. If even I've asked myself, is this okay? Is this not okay? All kinds of questions, right? Because of the conversations that you're every day, there's so many of them that's right at your face that it's not something that you can completely ignore or ignore at all. I have asked those questions myself, and I think it's been, I keep going back to why did I take up this character? Why was it important for me as an actor? And there were multiple reasons. I think the biggest reason for me was to choose the script where I don't know much about this character. I've never played someone like it. And I'm really curious to find out what it would feel like to play this person, to kind of try and take a side where I would never agree with it. And that is challenging for me as an actor. That's where I went. It's where I keep going every single time. I, of course, rely on a lot of my friends who are very objective. They're very objective people, and they do bring in a lot of sunshine in my life.
So I know you spoke a bit of Malayalam as well, a few lines here and there in it.
Yeah.
Are you actually Malayali? Are you actually Malayali? You're not Malayali, right? So again, for you too, because I think for Adah, I spoke to her about that as well, and because I think her grandmother is Malayali, so she's kind of grown up hearing the accents and the dialects. She had to really work on that. But for you to familiarize yourself as a Malayali as well in the film, that must have also been quite a process in itself, right?
I can't say I'm completely familiar with it, but I have spent a lot of my theatre days in Kerala, in Nallappa, in Palakkad, in so many places in and around Kerala. almost like 6 years have gone by where I've just traveled around, met people, spoken to so many different people, worked with people, understood them, created plays, created shows. All of this is in Kerala. So I think there is a certain sense of how they speak, where does it come from, how to enunciate, how to, use it when it is given. And of course, we had a dialect coach on the sets who was every day. I think there was a certain sense of training that was going on, where they would be telling us exactly how to speak if we were using any sort of Malayalam in the film. So I think that really helped.
Right. Now, last year there was a film called The Kashmir Files which released, and a very award-winning actor, a wonderful actor who I think is one of the finest we have, Chinmay Mandlekar, played a very fierce role, and it was very spine-chilling. Even now, when I see him, even if he's just doing an interview, I still get terrified of him because of the menace that he's portrayed on screen. But I do feel that a lot of the times when you are playing a character that is so strong, perhaps not for the right reasons, but still very effective, it becomes difficult for audiences to disassociate that image, that portrayal of that character with the actor. Do you fear, Vijay, that somewhere that ye chhap na pad jaye mera Ishak ka?
I'm enjoying it right now. I'm really glad that people remember Ishak the way they do. My social media is filled with hate followed by love immediately in the same sentence. They're like, इतना गाली दिया है आपको थिएटर में, लेकिन आपके फोटो देखने के बाद समझ में आया कि आप इतने अच्छे हो, यार बहुत अच्छा एक्टिंग किया है. So I think I'm gonna go through this for a few more months probably. I am not too worried about it becoming a sort of an image. I think there are a lot of actors who have played all kinds of characters and have still managed to get by because they're probably not, ended up playing the same kind of characters again and again and again, because that's where it lies. If you keep choosing characters with the same emotions, the same feeling, the same intentions, then I think you will definitely get stereotyped as an actor. This is how this person is going to be, and this is how we can see him, and this is what he does best. I don't think I want to take that path for myself. In fact, there is already a film that I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be something with a little bit of romance, a little bit of comedy, very light, completely different from everything that I've done and I've been part of in the Kerala story.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the reactions you're getting. I mean, it's wonderful to hear about the positive stuff, but what about the negative stuff? How are you coping with that?
Honestly, I'm not able to see too many negatives. I'm seeing negatives immediately followed by a huge amount of respect and love for the work that's gone into building this character. So I'm not feeling anything bad at the moment, because they're saying stuff like gali diya hai, we've hated your character, I see your face and I get scared on screen, all of these things, right? And it's followed by, in the same sentence, you've done an amazing job as an actor, we love you, we really respect the work that you've put into this film, we are enjoying these different characters that you're bringing onto screen. So I don't know, somewhere I feel like at least the people who are interacting with me on social media are at some level deeply aware that this is a film, that this is a character, and there was a factor of entertainment to it in what we've done. And they know that I'm going to probably choose a completely different character with any of my next works.
Mm-hmm. And I think I was asking you a bit about disassociating yourself from the character and finding Vijay again rather than Ishak. But
Yeah.
I have to say though, I mean, I've had one experience of acting before, and it was a bit of a dark role. And I found myself that influences of that character stayed with me for a long amount of time. It took a while for it to rub off. Do you think even after wrapping up the Kerala story, do you feel that there were some traces of Ishak in you in terms of the behavior and the way you spoke, presented yourself? Do you think there was that sense of lingering feeling that he was still there, kind of?
Well, immediately during the shoot, yes, like my shot is done and I'm sitting outside and I'm pretty sure I'm still feeling like, traces of him inside me. It's all there. I'm thinking the same thoughts. I'm saying the same lines. I'm preparing for my next scene, which means that the emotion kind of stays, right? But now that the film is over, I don't think so. And I think it's also thanks to the training that I've probably gone through in theater. there was this huge period of time where every character that I, performed on stage also stayed with me. And I started to behave like those characters, think like those characters, imagine the same things happening with me. And I think that is a pathological need, perhaps, somewhere for you to, at some level, feel human. So it's common for actors to also go there and feel like you're not able to let a character go. But I think when you do it for years and years and years and years and years, at some point you do develop that muscle where once you're off the stage, you find a way to let that person go. You probably go to a person that is going to rubbish your work, and they are the best people, right? They're going to immediately bring you out of that place and be like, dude, you're human. Come on, have a cup of coffee with me and let's talk about something else completely. I think those kind of things really help. Talking to those people, keeping those people really close. And of course, a lot of other tricks in the book which you can use to um, find your way out with any sort of a character that you're playing. And I think that's really helpful because mental health is really important, right?
Very.
Whether you're an actor or not. And I think these kind of things that you pick up over a period of time as an actor really help in avoiding some sort of injuries, internally. And I use all of them, every single thing under the book to somehow help me get in and out of characters.
Right. Now, I know you're probably not the right person to ask this question because you're not the maker, of course. You're just an actor who's been employed to fulfill a specific role. But I would like to ask this anyway to you and see if you can give me an answer. But, when it comes to films like this, when it comes to the Kashmir Files and any other movie, even if you look at Anubhav Sinha's works as well, which really wonderfully portray reality, of course, it raises awareness. It's, of course, done commercially very well. But Kerala Story ke aage kya? What is the next sort of benchmark now, do you think? I mean, do you think, because obviously films, to put an onus on an entire film to change society is obviously very unfair. But what do you think can be done socially, do you think?
Something that I'm really liking amongst all the conversations is also a conversation where we are able to, whether you're for the film or against the film, both of us are able to objectively speak about our own thoughts about this matter. And in-depth conversations I can see happening all around me every single day, every week, every month since the release of this film. And I think that is really crucial for us to grow towards a place where we can understand what do we do now that we have this information with us, that this can happen, this is happening. Now, what do we do? Can we together come as a community and somehow build core strength as human beings, all religions put together, all religions in the same thing, right? As human beings, can we somehow find the strength within ourselves to take a stand probably against any kind of atrocity in society? Can we all see it for what it is and say stop it, don't do this, don't be violent? I think these are conversations that are being spoken about. They're very important for me.
I think this entire experience has definitely made a lot of people actually introspect and, interpret freedom of speech and freedom of expression in a very different way. It's very interesting. Like there was, whether it's a certain documentary people were banning, the same sort of people were saying, no, don't ban this. It's very interesting how there's been two different sort of definitions of freedom of expression.
Yeah.
But as an actor, when you are obviously have done very well in a film like this, which is obviously, like I said, successful, has it really made you and influenced your opinion, perhaps, of the way freedom of expression is depicted within society and exercised within society too?
Definitely. I feel like all kinds of voices should be heard because it's coming from an innate space which wants to express itself, whether it is a film, poetry, a song, whatever it is, right? It's all coming from a space where you want to say something to the world, probably to the friends around you, probably to a larger community. it should be heard. And I think the more you're able to allow these kind of conversations to take space around you, you're able to become an integral part of that conversation, whether or not you like it. And therein lies evolution, is what I feel. Because I know disagreements help me learn more as a human being than when a person is in complete agreement with everything that I've said. I'd rather not be agreed to. I'd rather be disagreed to so that I can learn more. I can learn, I can better myself as an actor, as a human being, and find evolution for myself and find growth.
Mhm. And I think, one thing that you, Pranay, I think all the other actors that they bring especially to the role is that there's a sense of rawness I see in all of you.
There's a sense of rawness.
Rawness, yeah, like
Yeah.
there's a very authentic feel to you as actors. I don't see you guys trying to be the next, realistic quintessential Hindi cinema hero. There's a sense of you wanting to be actors and molding into that space. So I think at this point in time, to actually play, raw characters, do you think this is now the era where we will be seeing and continue to see more real, raw, relatable characters, how perhaps we used to do back in the 70s and even the 50s as well, where we saw the real life characters come to screen rather than just a larger than life picture?
Um, I can only speak for myself as an actor, right?
Yeah, please, yeah.
I think I'm very curious as an actor. I want to keep trying things that I haven't yet tried in my life as an actor. And that may come in any sort of a form, any sort of a medium, any sort of treatment, be it to a film. Something could be completely real, and I really enjoy working in realistic films, so to say. But I also really like the other side, which is a complete sort of an exaggerated form. You could call it slapstick, you could call it comedy, you could call it whatever you want. Of course, I think today's world, the fight is to find a kind of a balance between these two, probably completely different worlds, where one is towards another extreme and one is towards hyper realism, right?
Right.
I think to find balance between them, we also as actors need to be aware of the different forms that are being used, and within ourselves also somehow find your own balance. And I think that's really interesting for me. So I'm gonna try a lot of different things. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to fail as an actor.
Oh, wow, you're the first to say that.
I want to
Very.
fail. I want to fail. The more I fail, the more I learn, and I'd rather go towards that than always being right with the characters that I present.
Failure is never easy. It's the
Yeah,
toughest. It's
yeah.
very difficult to deal with, and especially for actors like yourself, because I don't think you come from a film family. I don't think you have like a massive godfather or like a support
No,
factor
no,
group. So I
no
think
one.
for you, I mean, surely it must have, for you to get one Kerala story, I mean, I'm sure it must have had to be a massive, massive struggle, surely. And I hate using that word, but I don't know what other word, sangharsh, I guess, in Hindi. So how have you?
Experience, life journey.
Yeah, exactly. So I know, I mean that's a biographical question which takes a long time, but if you could
Yeah.
summarize how you've learned from hardships, I think that would be great.
Honestly, Anuj, I think acting kind of happened to me. It wasn't something that I've ever, at least initially when it kind of happened to me, I wasn't seeking it. I was seeking the arts, which is why I chose to, like, puberty hit me and I ran away from home and did the whole shebang that all rebels do. And I wanted to follow the arts. I wanted to pursue the arts. So I joined Chitakala Parishad, which is this beautiful college in back in Bangalore. And I was sooner than later, I kind of realized that my interest was not in college. I realized that I wasn't interested in painting every day. I wasn't interested in sculpting every day. There was something else, but it had to be the arts. This much I was aware. And one day I happened to meet this director and I started living with him. And I was introduced to this world of theater
Mhm.
where, people are working every day. And it so happened that one day somebody uh, fell sick
Oh,
and I was asked to replace this person on the stage. And I did. And it just stayed. And sooner than later, after that, I couldn't not see this, that staring at me in my face and saying, this is what you want to do, right? It's got everything in it. It's got poetry, it's got art, it's got a human side to the arts. It's all of it. And the more I did it, the more obsessed I got. And, I've been part of theater for 10 years simply because of that one reason. And that's been my school. I haven't gone to any sort of a school for acting, but working with those different directors, different actors, different cultures, that has stayed with me. And I think that's my story. And that's where I come from. So I'm going to keep doing theater. I'm going to keep doing films. And it's an obsession. I don't think I can stop myself from being an actor.
Yeah, well, this is a good obsession to have, not necessarily the one that your character in
Absolutely.
Kerala Story had, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, definitely for sure. Look, I mean, I'm sure the floodgates of opportunities and scripts must be coming your way post Kerala Story. So if you could tell me how life has perhaps changed for you after the success of the film, and what other projects can we look forward to from you?
I don't think life has changed. Um, I don't think it's changed at all. I still feel like the same guy that I was probably 5, 10 years back. Of course, my worldview has changed. I've learned a lot of different things as an actor, as a human being, everything. But I feel like life is kind of the same. I'm as curious as I was 10 years back. I'm still taking stupid decisions in my daily life. And I don't know if I can say all of them are great decisions.
Right,
And
you can't just leave it at that. You have to tell me what stupid decisions those are.
I mean, I can't predict myself. I can't predict my next move. I'm very impulsive as an actor. Um, I just decided that I'm going to switch to Mumbai a couple of months back. And before that, I just decided one day that I'm going to do theater. And then you find yourself struggling, like you used, right? The word. You're struggling for 10 years and you're doing theater and you don't have money. And you're like, why do I want to do this? But you love doing it. I think all of these are part of your stupid decisions, right? And they've what helped me come where I am. And I don't think I'm going to stop doing them anytime soon, to be
Right.
completely honest.
Okay. And what about some of the projects that you've got coming up then? If you could shed some light on that.
Upcoming,
Mhm.
I of course can't take names, but there is a Kannada project that I'm really excited about, which is
Wow.
like, I'm going back because I'm from Bangalore. One of my first projects was Act 1978, which was Kannada. And I'm really looking forward to working with my language also at some level, right? I can't
Okay.
wait to use my native tongue and, express and learn and fail and fall in love and all of those things. And of course, there is another Hindi project, which is tentatively probably going to be, I think we're going to start shooting in probably another month or so.
Hmm.
So there are these two projects. I'm extremely excited. Again, very different from the stuff that I've done so far. So I don't know how it's gonna turn out. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, wow. So this Kannada film and this Hindi film, you can't give any more details on that, right? Okay, I'm gonna make sure I chase you up on that. But I'm looking forward to hearing that. But look, no, Vijay, thank you so much for joining me on Filme Shilmy. It's been such a pleasure to have you and
Same here.
sort of
Same
gain
here.
your insights and to speak about something as heavy but yet very creatively satisfying, I'm sure, as the Kerala Story. I think it's a very important film, and I think it's wonderful how we're seeing lots of stories about women, who unfortunately in the pursuit of utopia and the pursuit of a better life are
Yeah.
suffering because of men manipulation and everything in between. And I think it's
Yeah.
very important that we get to see films like that. So thank you so much and congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.